Okay, so what I just did is I improvised the use of explosives in combination with anti-tank mines. And there's some pretty cool things you can do with it. So the first thing I did was I wondered if you stack explosives close to each other, whether it has some type of effect of the explosion being stronger or having more range. So what I did is first I took one anti-tank mine, placed it. Let me remove my character. And then I placed some dummy targets. Okay, now I'm detonating the bomb. Okay, you may have seen this in a previous video. That's the debug sphere. And detonation appears to have an interior sphere. The yellow one, I think that's the one that even goes to thick walls. It's like some base pressure damage that doesn't depend on traces, but the fragments actually can hit something. And there you see two types of lines. You see red lines and blue lines. And as I mentioned in the previous video, those are not random fragments. Those are actually, the game runs a trace to all objects that can take damage in the game logic, and then I suppose it applies the damage. So you can see the character over here. You can see here the different hit zones it hit. And now here's interesting. Notice here that sphere is blue, then red, and then the thing is blue. Now what's interesting here is blue means I think it has an unimpeded path to the thing it's tracing. If it's red, that means the path was blocked by something solid and it detracted from the damage it's applied. That's my theory. I'm not sure exactly what it does. Because you can see it if it goes through thick walls. See here, blue, then it's red and goes this direction. Maybe it minimizes damage, lowers it, or does some other tricks. So anyway, you can see here, that's from one landmine. See here, some damage characters. So anybody in the yellow sphere, which is, I think, if you open them up, I think the explosion radius, the total radius is, I think, 50 meters. You see, 50 meters is half the square. The building is about 25 meters. So I think it's exactly 50 meters. Okay, now let's repeat the experiment. Okay, now I set up 3 landmines in really close proximity to each other. I'm going to detonate one. And the way it works in this game, landmines can cause a chain reaction of detonating each other if they're really close, but it has to be really close, within 1-2 meters. Okay, let's look at the debug. You have some inner sphere, much of that's for. You have the outer sphere. Now, notice it's the same size, and the outer total sphere of any traces happening is also the same size. But notice here you get 3 different spheres. It's hard to see. You get 3 different sets of meshes, and notice a higher density of traces, which means each bomb that goes off has its own set of traces. So if you put 2 bombs in, you get more traces. It means you get more damage applied more often, which I think translates into more dense explosion, but the range is not increased. But the lethality is, which you can see in a moment. You can see here, anybody in the yellow sphere within 50 meters is completely dead. Like, okay, completely dead. Then you have characters close, almost dead. See how the damage falls off, 8%. I think it also depends what body part gets traced and whether it actually blocks, some fragment is blocked by the vest or protective equipment. See here? Even characters up here still get damage. And characters here standing at the bridge get almost no damage. Now let's repeat it a 3rd time. Okay, now I've set 5 landmines in close proximity to each other. And approximately same setup with the way the characters are standing. Okay, let's look now. See even more density of hits. Again, everybody in the sphere is gone. Notice now there are more dead people outside of the sphere. See how the damage, basically, you have a higher lethality radius now. Notice even characters standing at the edge of it. Okay, they're still untouched. But notice the guys, the fall off is a bit sharper. Get this one guy is over dead. This guy is losing some damage. I think it's like some type of, I'm not sure what type of fall off it is, but you can see here. So if you put more explosives together, you get a higher density of damage. Okay, now let's look how you can practically set up bombs. Because I think that there's actually some gameplay value. It's not just some type of thing that you do occasionally. Okay, so the first thing you need is you need to get an anti-tank mine. And on the American side, it's easier because you got the mine is almost 15 kilos. The Soviet mine is about 10 kilos. So you have over 30% more explosives, I would guess, and therefore power. So you take a mine, and you take a detonator and some sticks. But the cool thing is when you use those mines, you actually don't have to arm them. You can just drop them on the ground, and they will go off by detonation or by shooting at them. Okay, so you can just drop it on the ground. And here's the cool thing. So you take it, then you take an explosive piece. First you have to equip it. Here's the other thing. Put that here. You can't put it on it, but you have to put it really close because sometimes you need 2 sticks to detonate it. So I'm just going to put 2 of them in case, so make sure it's that nice. Now I take that stick and arm it. You only have to arm one of them because one explosion will take out all of them. Okay, now here's 2 things you could do. You could carry the round or deploy the detonator. And the cool thing is in this game, I think they increased the range from when they first added it. It's within exactly 200 meters, you're connected to it. Okay, so let's see where I placed it. I placed it here at that building, which is here. So 200 meters is approximately here in the tree line. I'm going to place my character up here. I'll take the detonator out. You see those little wires that connected to things on top of it. Now if I'm walking all away from it. So you now disappeared. That doesn't mean you lost connection, you just say out of range, which means if you walk back into the range, the wires will reappear. And the game remembers the detonators. Even if the character is dead, you can pick up the detonator. And if you see wires like that, it means it's connected to something within 200 meters. And here's another cool thing. You can just like drop it on the ground. Now you can deploy detonator. And now it's a static object, which I presume will despawn in a longer time than just dropping the object on the ground. Now anybody can walk up to it and detonate all the charges. And you can connect multiple charges to it. Okay, now that means basically you can take that thing and put it in a location, tell the team where it is. Let's say it's base defense. It's like a last-ditch defense. If you get overrun or something, you tell the guy if the enemy is within a certain range of that tree line, somebody walk up and press the button. And then you can cause all the explosions. And I'd like to show you some practical use cases where it actually would make sense to have something like that. Okay, let's say you're in levy. See, the levy base is about, in a rough circle, it's about 200 meters across. So you can put something up here and you will have 200 meters range to something up here. So let's say you could, for example, go on the roof over here, put it up here. Put a detonator up here, and then let's say you rig with explosives. Every few meters, one landmine here, one here, one here. So let's actually do that. Let's. Okay, let's say you put one landmine on this side of the wall, one over here, like that, like that. Now let's see what would happen if they would detonate. Okay, let's look at some of the damage. That wouldn't directly hurt anybody who's low in the field, but the advantage is if you do that, let's say you have a large enemy force identified and they're basically made it to the wall. And if anybody's standing at the wall in the area, they get detonated along with the mine. And that's also a thing you can do preemptively. For example, let's say levy is pretty hard to defend as a defender because the attacker can walk up through dense forest, walk up to the wall, and then you're stuck in close combat at 50 meters with him. So what you can do is you can preemptively deforest in certain area. So say you put a landmine down. So you can actually like blow holes into dense forestry or tree lines where the enemy likes to camp. Or you can, for example, blow up these entire buildings. Let's say we take 1, 2, 3. But this works well on bases where you have a lot of supplies. But landmines aren't really that expensive. Okay, now destroy the building. But the advantage is, if you set up a defensive position, you have a machine gun on the window, perhaps a static one on the roof. See, now you broke open the sideline. So an enemy who comes in, he can't hide behind the house and have a good shooting position at you. He has to like go through the rubble, and you have clear view. And I think that's pretty useful in a place like Levy. Now, another obvious spot is if you are defending the harbor in Malta, and you know the famous White House with the 3 floors. You can just level it with 1 or 2 landmines. I think if you place it in them, I think 1 landmine is enough for most buildings. You can either wait until the enemy is inside it to shoot, because there will always be somebody trying to get the easy window to shoot from, then detonate it, or you pre-destroy it so they don't have it. Another example here, let's say you have snipers who want to shoot into Levy. But the trick is here, because of how the game works, and it's a problem with most open world games. The further away they are from you and seen through the scope, the less they can hide from you in dense grass, because grass doesn't render. So if a sniper hides in here, it's easy to spot. But the sniper hiding pretty close in the dense shrubbery like that, that's hard to spot. So let's say you put 1 or 2 landmines. You can wait for them to show up here, or you can just pre-destroy it, which means you just the trees will despawn in a moment. Then you basically deny them a good shooting position. And obviously the one final thing you can do is, say you have a base somewhere in the field, you have trucks and buildings everywhere, and you put 1 or 2 AT charges in all important buildings and the important assets. And let's say if the base gets overrun, you know you're going to lose it. The enemy is already inside capping it. You go into the tent and you detonate it, because you can place the diffuser, and then you can blow up everything of value inside the area.